ESL One Hamburg is brought to you in part by Intel, Mercedes-Benz, Vodafone, DHL, Alienware, Logitech G, and PaySafeCard. Vodafone presents the pre-match.
It's heating up nicely here at ESL One Hamburg. Welcome back to the panel as we look forward to our pre-game for our final series of the evening. It has been another long day of Dota 2, but another brilliant day of Dota 2, and we're close to finding out the teams that will make their way through to the brackets, both the upper and the lower. In fact, we've got a couple of absolutes to talk about as we head in towards this game. The first one is that Aster need just a single point from their game this evening to guarantee qualification, and Virtus.pro need both points this evening to guarantee their place with a game left in hand, or a series left in hand as well. So with that in mind, we've got 3 more games to go. We're going to focus on Aster versus compLexity right now. Both these two teams need the points for varying different reasons. We welcome back Trent and Purge to the panel. Good evening, gents. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah? Looking forward to this one?
Yeah.
Should be good to see whether Aster can continue this. They're 6-0 right now, Trent.
Yeah, I mean, one more. That's all you need.
Yeah,
life's
well,
gonna be good.
Point.
So
1 point from the last 4. No problem.
I'm just excited because Aster is doing so well right now. They're 6-0. They seem like the best team at the tournament right now, and I want to see how they do against the second worst team in the group. That should be a fun match.
Yeah, well, we'll take a look at Aster's lineup if you're not familiar with it, because it's a new lineup. Obviously, it's an amalgamation of players that have come from different teams, and it doesn't always gel properly, it has to be said. And yet, somehow, Trent, it has worked for them straight away.
yeah, I guess it's not really something we see a lot with like Chinese teams too. Feels like they kind of need some time to like gel together, get things going. But these guys are just popping off. I don't know. Maybe it's the coaching, right?
Yeah.
Your boy Burning, everyone loves to talk about that. So,
yeah.
And then on the other side, I mean, compLexity. I want to see these guys. They should be building up more and more because they finally got Skem. You know, they've been waiting to play with this guy for months now at this point. So every single game is like a victory because they're just stepping closer and closer to working together, but they're mostly losses.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Kevin, great to have their team together finally, but as they all said when they first came here on the very first day from compLexity, they were like, it's like we haven't played with him, so we don't know. We don't know what to expect. I mean, he's a good player on paper. He's looked good on, you know, pubs and what have you, but who knows how he plays with the team? And that's what they're finding out this week, isn't it? It's tough.
It's a bad sign. I mean, it's not for a top-tier organization. It seems like an unfortunate circumstance that they kind of put themselves in. Unfortunately, maybe it was not fully in their control, but you know, something they have to try to play through and get better at, especially with all the role changes that have been going on with their team. So I have hope for them. It's just I don't think their chances of getting out of group stage aren't looking great because the other team they're tied with right now is Forward Gaming. That was one of the teams that we had at the top of the group. So
yes,
you know, they're gonna have to outperform them. They've got to play both Aster here, who hasn't lost a game yet, and Ninjas in Pajamas, which is also not a terrible team. So it's hard for Cole. Yeah,
I mean that you pointed out their last 2 matches, and they've got to get something out of this game, haven't they? I mean, even if they get a point out of this, they've got to consider, okay, that's good. That's what we thought we would get. Because in the other game, Forward are playing EVOS right now. You'd imagine that should be a 2-0 for Forward, and if it is, that opens up a gap at the bottom. compLexity then need both points tomorrow, and they've got to play an IP, and that's going to be a tall ask.
Yes, they need to get some wins here. Ideally, 2. It's going to be really hard against Aster. Maybe they'll let some of their guard down, expecting to be the better team. We might see something like that, but they got to throw their best try at them.
If there's something going for them, Trent, is it that they've been quite solid in the first draft that they've played in almost every series here so far? They've won a couple of those games.
True.
And then kind of fallen off in the second game, I know, but maybe that helps them against Aster. Maybe they can come up with something. They can theory craft it. They can come up with something really cool. They can counter them in the first draft and then win that opening game.
Yeah, maybe.
There wasn't a lot of hope there. I wasn't going to get a lot of, feel for that one.
I really do think a lot of it just comes down to just trying to figure out their identity. I mean, they don't have they're switching Z-Freak and Envy. Envy's like playing Rubik instead of Z-Freak. I mean, Kyle's like puking over there. Like, it's just... It's pretty hard to believe.
May have a gun to his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a bit all over the place. But I'm trying to play devil's advocate here because they're 6 games into a brand new lineup.
Yep.
That's where they are right now.
There's definitely more room to grow. and I have a lot of faith in a lot of their players. They're very good, so they just gotta make it through these. Don't lose morale too much. Figure out what works for them, and this is a good tournament to try it out on.
Hey, at least we know they were raring to go. Both teams were just like, yo, let's go. Nice and
Yeah,
early, you
were,
know, they didn't take their break
during the
time.
break, they were like, well, they're ready for the draft. Wait, what? We're still in the break. What are you talking about? Yeah, they're definitely ready to go. Draft is underway. Well, bans are underway anyway. Nothing untoward so far. We've seen a lot of these bans before, a lot of Drell bans early. Tiny ban again, despite the fact that it suffered its 4th loss in 9 games in the previous match that we've just seen. It doesn't seem to have been successful as a core here so far, if not as a support.
Not finding those dominant matchups where he just gets like the full deny on the first wave and then is able to kind of like bully his way through. I think the side lane effect on that too, because it hasn't been a lot of mid-tinies, right? It's mostly been played on the sides, so it's not that like pure 1v1 situation where you're just like really getting the advantage in the levels. Plus, Nature's Prophet is notoriously one of the hardest laners in those matchups because the Treants just do so much damage early on, and he's a 0 armor hero.
Yep.
33 does so much damage on his army.
Yeah,
Come on, man. The guy 1v2
mental
that top
damage,
lane.
dude.
Like,
Like, once he 2v1s you, you're just
that was
like...
horrible. That was horrible. I'd been on the end of that. That would be disgusting. On the other side of things, we're seeing Ogre in the first phase bans, along with a Necro and a Wisp. What does that leave out that we haven't seen?
That's basically just, I mean, it's 2 lane stabilizers. Winter Wyvern didn't get banned.
Phoenix, obviously another one that's been moving up. We've seen that a few first phase bans recently as well.
Yeah, it feels like Phoenix has fully replaced Wyvern as the go-to 5. Guess I think a lot of times the Wyvern is definitely an ease of execution thing, I would say. As great as Wyvern is, has these like massive cast range for both the Splinter Blast as well as the Arctic Burn and of course the Winter's Curse. Phoenix, it's like you get off a decent egg, even if they kill the egg, you can still win the fight a lot of times because there's so many resources dedicated. Whole heroes are picked just to try and handle, like the Mirana has become pretty notorious.
Yeah, the hero's a lot more multifaceted. It's like you deal damage no matter what the circumstances are. If Winter Wyvern just sees a random hero in the jungle, you're like, well, I've got a couple okay options, but I don't really want to use them. Phoenix is just more versatile.
But most importantly, they both have GPM talents.
That's true.
That's just the life.
I think, I don't know if it was Aster or another team, but somebody was playing as an offlane as well. Not that that's uncommon, but it does give you a lot more flexibility than a Wyvern right now.
I saw they had the Meteor Hammer Phoenix, I think was Aster the other night too.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
Bane Shaker opening from compLexity. Bane, the most popular hero here so far in terms of picks.
Can believe that. Can win any lane. 2v1 meta or a 2-1-2 meta. Feels like Bane is one of the best heroes you can even imagine in those situations. Just so good at harassing people and keeping a core alive, no matter what that core is.
I was going to say, it pairs well with pretty much everything, doesn't it?
Yeah. Can't go wrong. Only downside, does not have a GPM talent. That's pretty much the only thing you can find wrong with Bane, honestly.
7.20. Bane now receives GPM talent. Oh, damn it.
That's true. He also does lack AoE, but luckily we will be backed up by an Earthshaker. Neither of these supports do much against Phoenix, though, but it's pretty hard to find supports that really do stuff, because obviously they have very low attack speeds unless you're Crystal Maiden level 20, so you gotta get the cores to deal with that. And oh, I thought this hero was dead.
I saw Secret play it as an offlane.
Yeah.
I played it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been picked reasonable amount. I mean, we saw it quite a bit yesterday, a little bit more today. Not an every game hero, though.
He's had a couple good games here, too. Just even the support role, just like people just keep chain feeding to him and losing all their int, and suddenly your life's very difficult. But has some global presence for the Bane, at the very least. Not like the most common counter, but very similar to the Black Hole. Maybe you can get a couple saves off with that. Can help shield the egg, too. Depending on what the hero is. Maybe like Mirana can't leap in and get her attack speed going or something. But she will be banned out now by Aster.
When against an Earthshaker, I feel like it's pretty solid as a lane solution. Like, I don't think it's amazing against Bane necessarily, but it's okay. And against ES, it's pretty strong, even though he's normally quite tanky. You just have like disable potential over him. And Global Silence is just so good with even what's on the board right now. So it feels like there's no way that they can win the fight against Phoenix Silencer right now, is what it looks like to me.
It does show that this Phoenix and support, like this is likely your support duo, so they don't really have any dedicated stuns. I mean, this is the kind of thing that teams start to think about things like the Ember or the Storm Spirit. Of course, Global Silence like kind of throws a wrench in that, but many teams are comfortable just taking the Storm into the Silencer with like the popularity we've seen with the hero lately.
An Invoker ban and a Mirana ban, which is pretty standard considering Bane was opened.
Yeah, that would have been so by far the best hero for compLexity there. Kind of surprised they didn't just straight up go Bane Mirana with the Phoenix being there. Like, it's just like seems to be the best hero to deal with the egg, but at the same time, the Earthshaker is likely one of those heroes that will be banned out in the second phase, or Aster themselves might have even taken it, because that hero just feels like someone who, one of the few heroes right now that when you get like suddenly fall behind, he can just bring you back in the game with one simple play.
And even like close games now too. There's I mean, there's so many times where just chain stuns are everything. So ban out a Weaver as well. Definitely would have been able to bully the Silencer and the Phoenix quite a bit in lane. It's another good egg solution too.
This is like a who's gonna blink first moment here. Every hard carry is left in right now. All of these PLs and Terrorblades and Morphlings.
Many of which are good against Phoenix.
Yeah.
Aster are 5-1 by the way with the Silencer.
Okay. I mean, they tried to ban all the egg solutions, and I guess Mirana and Weaver are definitely the best ones, but all those other heroes are still really good.
You know Envy's sitting there going, so guys, we're playing Terrorblade. If this gets left in, I think even in the support role, feels like he still gravitates towards it. It appears to be a hero that Skem has been pretty good on and plays back home too, so feels like the likely way to go for this one. You have a Bane to shore up the Terrorblade too.
Morphling still available as well.
Morphling becomes a problem. So if Cole banned the Morphling, that really signifies the fact they're going for the TB because they don't have to deal with the meta solutions. But then if you do that, they ban the Legion instead. But the problem is, even if you go for that TB and they go, like, they might not even take Morph, they might take the PL, which now is a better matchup.
They ban the LC to take the Axe, so.
So does that still show, I mean, obviously it's good against Grip, but I don't think that would have been the main reason they banned it. Does that still mean they want to grab TB, they just want to delay it a little bit?
I think
because they can force out picks here now, obviously.
It's also a hero that they've been playing quite a bit, I believe, for Aster, for XSS. It seems to be like almost on the same levels as Magnus.
That's true, yeah. Yes, played a little. Maybe a combo thing. Good in both cases.
And D-Stone's other hero, he's been playing the Lina. I saw him go Bloodstone Lina in one of their games on day one. I was checking out some of the replays. So, but yeah, it's pretty damn good. And it'll be the Monkey King for now. Axe, okay, yeah.
It's a decent Axe solution.
Speaking of Axe solutions, they have the Bane for themselves too. So one of the more, difficult heroes to deal with without the Bane. If he decides that the lane doesn't look very good right off the bat, you can just like cut, get your second level, and then try and bully. But yeah, Monkey King hoping to throw back some of that harassment with the lifesteal.
It's not a bad way to do it though, just because his armor will be so low this first couple of waves. Kind of like it. I think it's like Phoenix, more lockdown. They've already got both with the Axe and the Earthshaker, just a really nice advantage.
Yeah, definitely felt likely at this point. Problems though is that basically guarantees that it has to be the Bane and the TB laning together, which means that the Axe and the Shaker can have to play together, and I feel like they're a little bit different. Like Axe, I mean, unless he's going like all out cutting, like generally you want to actually put some pressure onto the carry other than just having them farm under the tower, but Earthshaker does nothing if someone's farming under the tower. He can't really play aggressively with the Axe in a lane. Like he can't have much of an impact under, like in terms of those dives, right? I think of like other heroes that have like long range stuff, like Dark Willow or something, where you're like lobbing in like a Brambles into a call, and some spins, those kind of plays. Earthshaker just doesn't really play aggro like that. So I feel like this looks like a slow start for whoever's playing the Earthshaker this game, assumedly Envy.
I mean, hypothetically, you could do Axe support and lane Earthshaker as your core versus Monkey King. I don't know if that's a great idea, but it's probably not fantastic. So the bat just gives them the ability to win potentially two lanes, like either against two matchups at least, either against Axe or against TV. I feel like bat should have an advantage there outside of like Metamorphosis.
Yeah, I've seen Bane be able to turn that matchup a couple times, just like especially against the TB, where you try and like come into it, but Bane is just so strong that very good at denying that like initial Firefly and everything. And just like holding you back with brain saps too.
And it also makes their team fight just... they already had really good team fight with Supernova and Global Silence, but it was hard for them to force their opponents into it, kind of. Even like Monkey King ulti kind of has the same problem. It's like if your opponents aren't set up inside of the ulti, it's not great. But having a Bat Rider be able to pull everybody into the egg, into the Monkey King ulti is pretty cool.
I like the ban from Cole though. Again, a hero they've already played for D-Stones. We know he's one of these guys that has very much specialty heroes, but it would have been a good nuke for the lasso. Would have been something that they could just like look towards for not many matchups that easily defeat Alina or something like that. There's still a Pugna in this game, which would be like a natural Yule's builder for Aster. It would kind of put them on a little bit of a timer. Maybe they want some more right-click damage for sure. Probably going to get more of those. What kind of position one do we got here? I don't think we're playing SF here, guys, unfortunately. But I feel like you need one of those, SF-esque heroes out of the mid lane.
Outside of like Lasso and Global Silence, I don't really have great Sunder solutions right now. So I'm kind of worried about that. Like going into super late game scenarios, like TB will have lots of outs between like a Manta BKB. So maybe they do need something pretty hard carry that isn't super countered by Axe. I mean, Luna's been really popular consistently.
Yeah, very popular in the Chinese region too.
That would force a weird hero in the mid lane, I guess,
then you have to like monkey mid or something, and then you don't know what the matchup's going to be.
Yeah.
Necro's banned. The Magnus is not banned. It's been one of their go-tos recently.
They banned the Huskar themselves.
So
Like TA's still in. I guess TA is possible. Are all
with the
worst ones? I think that's probably doable. D-Stone Sky, he seems like a TA player.
It could also just be a ban to protect a potential Monkey King going mid if needed.
Yeah,
something
also
like
true. And then, there's also still Ember, which really fits into like all these ideas too, actually.
Yeah, kind of like
Up against the TB.
They have picked a lot as well.
But you're also against Axe and Earthshaker.
And Fiend's Grip if he gets caught. Yeah, there's a lot of scary things for sure. But it would also give him a lot of mobility too. And his first couple fights with Global Silence are going to be, he'll be invincible basically.
Okay.
They'll just go something tanky instead.
DK.
And they didn't really have a frontliner part of this, nothing that could really get up there other than like, but Monkey King doesn't want to be that guy. So I think Dragon Knights potentially could work well. Maybe another reason they banned Huskar.
Has often been used basically as like a replacement Lina in a lot of drafts where the Lina gets banned out pretty much like almost always in that like 6th ban phase there, and DK, if you're the 9th pick team, DK has been the most popular hero over the past 2 years, I'm pretty sure, if you were to look at all the numbers, because you don't know who you're playing against, and generally he fits most options. That like he fits so many like niche parts of a draft. He can build into an initiator, he can just be a tower hitter, he can just be in the front line trying to, and like he's AoE clear against illusion heroes too, so he's just been a go-to solution for a lot of teams.
And that's really what they needed. They needed a tower hitter because if you again, their ability to start a team fight is all about their global ultis and maybe a Batrider lasso. But if you're just standing there waiting for like a high ground Batrider lasso, it's not really going to work great. But if you can at least push the lane a little bit and have Dragon Knight hitting the tower, that's going to at some point force your opponents to do something. So while Dragon Knight hits tower, wait for a lasso, wait for a team fight opportunity. It's a really good way to like actually force your opponents to engage you, as long as they can deal with the split pushing.
So what's Limp doing?
Well, Envy seemed to know what they should be picking. He was quite animated, wasn't he, in the complexity brew, that's for sure.
Hello, Sneaky.
Their most popular last pick, by the way, is a Spectre.
I hope not this time.
No.
I hope Limp's not playing Spectre.
They've also favoured PLs as well, which that's
I mean, Limp's
terrible here, is it?
TA is still in.
Okay.
I don't really think that fits the timing all too well.
They shouldn't PL with TB. It would be okay if TB wasn't there.
I like the Ember. Ember seems okay for them too. I like these like greedier heroes versus DK because he's gonna go even with most heroes anyway. So like I like teams that pick like the Storm into the DK, even though it's kind of a double-edged sword because obviously he has some control, but he's really the only good control. Batrider's pretty hard to actually grab a Storm Spirit in games. Same thing with the Ember. Curious how they feel about this situation. Who can make space for a TB with an Axe of Bane and an Earthshaker, according to Cole? And the answer is TA indeed for Limp.
All right. Well, we went around the houses. It was the one we started with.
I mean, that's Limp's
it's the one we ended with.
too. So
yeah, and they banned the Lina early on. It was a call to that one, I suppose. Okay, draft completed. Complexity have had some good first game drafts. Is this good enough, Kevin?
I am overwashed. My logic is overwashed by the fact that Aster has not lost a single game yet. So I'm gonna somehow try to remove that from my brain. And
look at that pentagram.
That's almost a full pentagram. So definitely complexity.
There you go. That's all you need. Look at this.
That is the single highest figure we've seen for synergy on a team so far.
Wow.
Of any of the drafts.
If the synergy's that high, how can it go wrong? Does Batrider look like he really has any problems this game though? And I kind of felt that way, but last game too, it didn't go too well. So
it's like chain stuns and ways to protect cores, but
I feel like
there's like a lot of magic to break refraction too. So I'm not sure.
I feel like I'm just going to have to go for Aster. Sorry,
okay.
Cole.
All right.
See.
Aster on any point. Trent thinks they get it. Kevin?
Definitely Aster is going to win, but I kind of like Cole's draft, but no, I don't. I like Aster's better. Easy. Very clear. Very confident.
Okay, I think it was just fear of upsetting Kyle because he's already seen the Batrider, and I can imagine Kyle's just been like, do you know what? Why don't let's find out? Because he's on the panel right now for the commentary of our final series. Do enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Paul. Yes, the final series that we'll be showing of the day here today at ESL One Hamburg. And we have Cole versus Aster, of course, the man from the org back in the day. We've got Kyle joining me by the side for this draft. And Kyle, looking at this draft, you're liking what Aster's doing this game. You feel that Aster's got some good stuff here against Cole's lineup.
I think the panel was being very gracious because this is the hardest outdraft I've seen in this tournament yet. This is a 97-3.
Well, I mean, what is it? What's the biggest single flaw? Like, okay, you're saying there's a lot of flaws, but it's
Bat Rider, Dragon Knight, Phoenix. You leave Silencer in the pool to the team that first picks Phoenix and go Bane Earthshaker. They immediately go Silencer. Your support duo is now hard countered. They have Bat against TBTA, like the two cores you most enjoy playing Bat Rider against.
I mean, what do you think Cole's idea is about this game? They must, they've come in with a draft. They've got to be thinking in their minds, we've got a game plan. What can you imagine is sort of the good aspects of the draft that they could make work? There's got to be something, Cole.
I have a hard time finding anything. DK versus TA is a wash. It's not one of those matchups that TA can snowball off of. As soon as Dragon Knight hits 6, TA pretty much has to leave the lane. You can't play against Dragon Knight anymore. I'm sure Aster 6-0 is going to be able to place down a sentry to ensure he has lane dominance. Top lane, it's an Axe versus a Monkey King. And
30 seconds to battle.
You have a Terrorblade against a Bat. Like, this is rough.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong actually. Looking at the lanes that we are going to see, it is going to be these matchups, which I think most will agree are certainly unfavorable for Cole in each sort of individual area on the map. It's not going to be an easy start for Cole in the lanes unless they come out with some serious outplay against Aster. But Aster, this team that they have been on quite a streak here at this LAN with some incredible victories against the bigger teams and certainly proving their name and proving themselves here in their first international appearance.
You put your superstar SEA pickup on a TB. He's going to be 2 versus 1 apparently, and you put, my opinion, one of the best 4s in the world on Bane hard support. Let's just enjoy the match.
Well, let's see what Z-Freak can do. He's going to come down and try and help out the Terrorblade in this lane against, as you say, this Bat Phoenix, a very terrifying lane for a Terrorblade to farm in.
It's so hard for Bane to play too. Yeah. Because Bane can trade with pretty much anything, but Phoenix is just so strong, level 1, in addition to putting out the attack slow, so Bane can't trade as effectively. They pop the meta right away, so they'll win these first couple waves, but look at this. Super well played by Baboka. He gets the pull off, and I bet you he hesitates now to ensure that he blocks the easy camp, and he will block it with the Archer. Perfect play from Baboka. He actually has a ward there. Never mind, he didn't need to. But that's how you counter a meta. Pop that early. Just go pull the creep wave. This is going to ensure Bat gets like level 3 real fast, and then they can start to take over the lane.
Down bottom, XXS. Oh, he's got 10 stacks on the Terrorblade. He really went for it. I don't think I've ever really seen someone on 10 stacks. He felt he could get the kill. He couldn't. He gives up first blood to Scam.
He gets a salve. It's not ideal, obviously, but it's not super punishing. You just definitely can't do that again. I like what Envy's doing, though. He's not really able to help out up top. Axe is just backlanding and pulling creeps around. So just go mid, sit there, ensure TA gets a little bit of a lead on this DK.
I mean, the TA certainly, Limp's doing a great job in the middle lane. 7 for 6 against the 4 for 1 on these early levels. And bottom C-Freak, we just okay, keeping himself at the distance, turns, gets the brain sap off onto Baboka. And yeah, starting to skip the creep wave. Snaking, getting that secured farm.
The compLexity is going to need a huge gain from Schem to win this. They have no real heroes that naturally itemize to deal with silence, save the Terrorblade, and they're going to have major issues winning any team fights if they don't come out ahead in this laning phase. Top lane.
Looking for Fenrir. Sylar is there to offer backup if they do dive a little bit too much onto Fenrir. And indeed, they will retreat. As bottom lane, I mean, are any sort of these lanes, would you say, after sort of the first few levels, do they get a little easier for one side or another? That's all top lane. Sylar chasing down Snaking. Snaking has got the south. There's a Fissure as well. Holds Sylar back from Snaking.
Sorry, what was your question?
Like, is there a lane that gets easier as sort of the levels come in for cole on one of these lanes?
Bottom, I think, if they can survive and make sure they don't die on anybody. Z-Freak's in a lot of trouble right now, actually. He has no brain sap for a little bit.
Dive forward, another spirit down. He's got the stick charge, does have a nightmare. He's going to tick pretty low, but he's got the tango regen, and he does now have Skem by his side. But Boca will be able to keep himself at a safe distance. So with the movement speed that he has.
Thing is, bottom, like, they missed a whole wave bottom. And is Skem, like, going to jungle or something? What's going on here? Because a creep wave this early in the game represents more than a hero kill in golden experience. And he just missed one, and if he keeps up this chase, he's going to miss another. That was very strange. I have no idea.
Gone on a little bit of a walk around. He is going to head himself back towards the lane, but as you said, what sort of difference is now going to be apparent between this Terrorblade and the Batrider. Those few waves.
Lane this 1v1 either, man. If he gets up to 3 stacks, all of a sudden he's forced to teleport, and that's what I expect to have happen very soon.
Looks like XXS just a little scared, maybe sort of respecting the fact that might be back up by Skem, but indeed Skem is out on his own.
Yeah. Up top there, mid lane is the key, and this was thanks to Envy just sitting here initially. If TA can get an early level CS advantage before the Dragon Knight finishes a Soul Ring, you can take over the lane, you get that fast Aquila, and all of a sudden the side blades start stacking up, and that's exactly what happened. So this is very good for Limp and compLexity. He really has to go off.
Whoa, look at this mid, Envy. He's got the Fisher. The traps there onto D-Stone, sets up for Limp to take the kill.
It's a very hard TA game, is the only concern. Phoenix and Bat, you need a BKB to really be able to play Dota in this game.
Bottom lane, we will see that TP forced out from Skem. He does have to retreat back to base as Boca and XXS make a go onto him. So another bit of time where this Terrorblade is not going to be in the lane. So to make the long walk back towards, so he's sort of heading down that mid now, maybe just looking to clean up some of the neutral counts across the way back. But no, it's going to slow down the farm of this Terrorblade quite a bit. So yeah, he'll look to resort to jungling for a little bit, the TB. Top lane, Fenrir chasing down Envy. Envy's got the shrine.
Z-Freak in some trouble as well. No Nightmare. He tried to use it to secure the rune. He's going to try and pull creeps, maybe get denied, but that's not going to be effective. And Batrider XXX level 5.
Well, same time, they do lose Fenrir. Envy's able to turn and just punch him down by the looks of it. Didn't actually, hadn't used the Fisher, so I'm not quite sure he got away with that kill. Fenrir does die to him.
Big key here is the mid lane.
I mean, Limp is crushing it.
Yeah, exactly.
He is absolutely crushing it mid.
They want one more kill. One more kill with this catapult wave would give a lot of tower pressure, but it's tough if D-Stones doesn't walk into a trap.
They've got a trap to set off the back of the Fisher. Limp moving in. It's going to be the Breathe Fire coming out, damage reduction, enough to make sure that D-Stones will survive the attempt from Limp and Envy. Envy, thinking about diving in, will not do so. At the back of the Phoenix coming in as well as Fenrir, hovering around this mid lane. Boca very low though. Just have to be careful. Limp. He's going to turn his attention towards Fenrir. Z-Freak's there as well with the brain sap. Limp gets himself another one. The aggression's on from cole as they look to circle around this tier 1 tower. D-Stone still pretty beefy. It's level 5 Dragon Knight. But Limp he's getting very far ahead in this mid lane.
Catapult lives with 9 HP. That's huge for compLexity.
Another trap onto D-Stones. More TPs are coming through. The Soul Ring, the quick stun onto Envy. XXS trying to get in there, but the Nightmare will hold him back. It's taken off by Fenrir, so he can continue to chase down Envy, but Limp, he's got the trap. There's the lasso, holding Limp down for now. Do they have the damage to kill him? The refraction is going to be back up, so Limp can get back to safety. Avoids the attempt from Aster.
It's a big play there. But the concern is, in the meantime, Phoenix took bottom lane and TB missed 2 more creep waves. Like, he's still not able to have a presence. And the issue with playing TA against Bat is there's no way to itemize to not just get lassoed and killed. Theoretically, sure, you can have a Linken's, but you're also going to need your Deso, your Blink, your BKB. It's just too many items.
Back at mid. These Stones getting gone on again. A lot of attention on this DK. Limp trying to chase him down, looking for the side blades. He's got the salve going and will be cancelled as Limp is continuing to dive for this up to the tier 2s. D-Stones turns with the stun. Back up front, Silo comes in with the 2-man battle. The strikers cole may have dove just a little too far. D-Stones turns with a Breathe Fire, takes down Limp. Freak will die to the neutral, but a very aggressive dive there. I mean, it felt like cole, they were really getting it together around that mid lane, but then they sort of just throw their lives away there, diving at that tier 2 whilst the tier 1 was still up.
it is well played by Aster. They rotate the whole squad with the exception of the Phoenix, who's just sitting down bottom, trading against TB, and that's the move you have to make. The way compLexity wins this is to snowball specifically their TA hard. You can't let them make moves like that. You've got to punish.
Top Sylar. He's going to get himself a freebie as he runs down Snakey. And is this a normal, considering the start that Skem's had, is this the way you have to go? Get just the triple Wraith bands and hit the jungle?
I have no clue. I don't dislike it, but at the same time, it does slow down his real timings, right? I mean, he needs a BKB and a Manta, preferably in this game. And this makes me think he'll probably be going for a Hurricane Pike. It just slows his timings down. When is compLexity going to really be able to take a team engagement? Like, I don't know where that happens.
Top tower is under attack.
Yeah, a lot on it still to sort of, I guess, rely on Limp to continue popping off. And he is still very much up there. And, you know, the Farmer Scam, he is keeping himself up there. You've got the 3 cores of compLexity in a very good position at the moment. Sylar just the man at the top of it all leading ahead.
Yep. Aster are doing a lot of things right, though. They have a sentry down mid to ensure that the traps don't become a problem. And in addition, they kept their mid tower alive. It's incredibly important they can keep that alive for at least another 4 or 5 minutes.
It's bottom. And with the lasso, they will lose Baboka, though, to the Brain Sap as Z-Freak. XXS will continue to try and chase down Envy. Envy's got a Fisher. 4 or 5 stacks of the Napalm. As XXS, he really wants this kill. A couple more right clicks will do it. A 6 stack and a right click takes down Envy. TP coming through. XXS now on the retreat as Limp will look to chase. He's got Trap back up in a second. Look to try and hunt down XXS. He does have the Phoenix coming back over to help him, though. Turns with the sticky and XXS gets himself away.
That hurts. That really hurts. You do not want to be bringing your T out of mid lane for any reason, and that's going to be a long walk back for Limp. Skem doing a nice job covering mid wave, gets those 3-4 creeps under tower, but at the same time, Axe is abandoned top lane. That's the Monkey King versus Axe disparity. You can't ever allow these heroes to be even in a 1v1 because the Monkey King will dominate the matchup. I love that Sylar went Treads Aquila. I think this is the core Monkey King build. I really don't like the phase boots on the hero. I'm excited to watch him play it this game as well. I've never seen a Sylar Monkey King, and I think he's the best carry in the world, so.
And he's going to be hitting some good numbers if he can get this Battle Fury on time, and so far the opening looks to be leading that way. Sylar had a beautiful lane to start things up. Put his eyes on Snake King. He's going to go for a bit of a chase down. He'll go with the Berserker's Call, but that still just allows Sylar to get that Jingu built up. Snake King too tanky, though. He has the completed Vanguard, so Sylar not quite enough punch to beat down the Axe alone. Snake King will be kept fine for now. Scam keeping the farm up, working his way through the Ancients, and still sitting very, very healthily, even though he did have that tough lane start. As mid lane D-Stones, it's going to be the target. Turns with a quick Dragon Tail onto Limp to slow down the damage coming out from the TA. Another trap set off. Does D-Stones have any backup? He does. Look who's here. Sylar and Baboka. The X down straight away. Sylar comes in with a 2-man boundless strike. The Thunder comes through though. Limp's down. There's Envy gone as well. They do get the egg. They'll get the egg call. So 2 for 2 trade in that middle lane, but this is more money and glory going the way of Sylar, and another play where Limp is going to end up dying.
Meantime, though, XXS farming bottom. He's got enough gold for the blink now, although he might go the S4 bots first. He's got a lot of options this game.
He's got a lot, yeah, he's holding on to that money.
Couple mistakes made there by Aster, though. He didn't soul ring on DK to get the breathe fire off. That may have been enough to keep him alive, and the egg was just a little too aggressive. He did get all his fire spirits off on the compLexity heroes, but still, it was a little deep. He's going Battle Fury on Sylar's Monkey King as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's nearly got the money for the Demon Edge, so that first sort of hurdle pretty much crossed.
Envy, 1400 gold saved, running around with Tranquil Boots and 1 mana potion. Played a lot of Earthshaker in my day. Not going to comment on this, but I do not believe that is optimal.
Top lane Sylar. Set up with the Boundless Strike. Fenrir trying to come in, but they don't have to follow up slow. So Snake King again able to walk off. This Vanguard saving his life many times.
They're going to take bottom tower. They get the scan off as well. Envy's in some trouble.
Yep, they're going to spot him in as XXS dives in immediately as the scan successful. He's on top of Envy. Envy trying to hold him back with the stuns, but the tower's gone. But Boka leads forward with the dive, and they'll slowly run down Envy on his Shaker. No escape for him as he'll die, and a little bit of that money that he was building up towards the Blink Dagger is taken away. XXS now on a killing spree on his Batrider, making the plays happen.
And they still have the lasso preserved as well. No Firefly, but TB is in trouble if he sticks around for too long. Egg is up as well. I mean, they can just blink in, dive, and Skem's in trouble. And this is the downside of the TB and the TA in this game, where it feels like in a one-on-one situation, you're not confident laning. Like, you can't actually play against this Bat, and I love this rotation. They're going to go connect to mid. DK form is active or ready to go, and you just push mid now. Collapse on this tower. They have silence prepared in a few seconds. I'm sorry, they need the tome. It's all the way in base.
And the timing's on Limp. What do we got? It's nearly got that blink dagger. Top Sylar. Actually, totally wished the boundless strike there. Went the exact opposite way. That was a bit of a rare misplay there from Sylar.
Oh, look at this XXS.
His eyes on the prize. Now so, to set things up, can they actually take this man down in time? Well, yes. Ooh, he's going to stun the Limp. That's going to put them both in a bit of a low situation, but it may just have been enough to save his life. The Supernova comes through, the tick damage. Not quite enough. 3 HP, I believe. He was on the TB as Skem will survive. Fenrir finds the Bane, but they do manage to keep their Terrorblade alive.
Look at where they play. Like, how fast was that rotation from Aster? Look at the map control they got. They get bottom tier 1, mid tier 1, and all of a sudden, compLexity's heroes are forced into one half of the map. Sylar goes down.
A good play here from Limp, getting involved with the two of them. They've got the blink setups on both of them. Limp and Snaking ready to make these jump plays on the Axe and TA.
Look at the ward they
placed.
placed
To find with it.
off that kill. That is such an insane ward when you're playing against TA and Terrorblade, because you know they want to farm that triple camp. They're going to have so much ability. Dire loves playing in the Radiant top jungle. That's where you want to play, especially against a TA. You want to control Roshan and force compLexity to walk through you if they want to claim those big objectives, and their mid tower is still alive.
Yeah, that's right. They've got every single tier 1 tower up in the game at the moment. Aster taken to themselves. D-Stones will be slowed down by the trap. Zephrie's got the Fiend script to set up for the rest of them to come in. Limp and Skem should certainly have the damage with the Metamorphosis. Pop D-Stones gets punished for coming out a little too far and on his own. And whilst this is being going on, MV is getting very close to having that Blink Dagger. Just 100 gold away, and that'll be the 3rd Blink online.
Yep. This is somewhat of compLexity's timing, but the downside of going all in on these blinks is that they need to translate them into kills and map control. There is still a TB, you know, I'm probably downplaying too much the importance of this hero, because Skem is very farmed. He has just been ricing 3-0 as well, so having a flawless game, even though his lane was pretty impossible. I think he abandoned completely at like level 3, so.
Yeah, the power is so the Terrorblade to just be able to recover in the jungle.
The big timing for Aster is going to be the DK Shadowblade. That's when they can sort of run through with that hero, scout things out, find a stun, lasso another target, silence on top. It's still going to be very difficult for compLexity to win a team fight if they don't get the initiation and a hero kill right away off the jump.
Especially with this global ready and waiting from Fenrir, as XXS nearly has the money for his 4-star on top of the blink.
Smoke from Cole. They have blink ready on Shaker as well.
Ooh, let's see who they can get. At the moment, D-Stones, he is in the neighborhood, goes down to grab a DD rune that was spotted out by the ward. As they'll suddenly take a chance.
Boka's going for the kill up top, I think.
Yeah, he's running down Skem. Skem. Supernova comes out. Is it enough tick damage? Oh, Envy. He'll take one for the boy. As the Sunder is there, Skem is able to get his health back up to full and would have certainly died if he hadn't done so. Nice play from Snaking. Comes in, the call grabs Baboka in the tree line as Skem and Envy chasing down this Phoenix. No escape surely for Baboka as he'll get beat down. Cole find the punished play to take Baboka. As Baboka trying for that solo play, but it's hard to do, you know. Skem does have a teammate by his side as he retreats. He's always going to be able to make that Sunder play to keep him alive. As Aster, they'll look to try and do something in return now. They don't have their Phoenix. They do have the Dragon form.
This could be good for Cole, though. They don't really want a teamfight on Aster just yet. They want to pick off on somebody.
Snaking. He's blinked into a bit of a dangerous place, but Envy is there with the counterplay. Comes in with the Echo Slam. Global silence out from Fenrir. Cole will back off for now, but now Zephrie's ready to go back in. Limp blinks forward. He's got his eyes on to D-Stones, the grab as well. Zephrie, the Fiend script, the Nightmare setup as well onto Fenrir will allow Cole to get both. Limp gets the double kill.
A bit of panic there. D-Stone stunned an Ancient instead of the Axe. They aren't able to lock him down. He would have probably died to the Firefly, but Really well played by compLexity. They're in the area of the map that Aster wants to control, and they did not expect to walk into a 4-man pincer. Limp with the immediate blink in. He's got the Deso finished in just a little bit, but they need to make a play for Roche before Aster can force another engagement.
Top lane, quick jump. They've got the lasso, but there is backup. Snaking is around, jumps in with the call. MV will tick down to the Firefly. Limp's going to be there to help Snaking try and have an attempt at finishing off XXS. He forces forward. But Limp's hunting. Blink's going to be back up in a second for XXS. Can he play his way out? Oh, nicely done. Across the trees, TP's away, will keep himself safe.
Well played. Meantime, Monkey King does finish the Battle Fury. You need this item to be able to keep up with a hero like TB on Monkey.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been not a non-factor, but after those couple early rotations, Siler's just been farming the jungle. So this is going to allow him to keep pace. You're still banking on winning team fights. compLexity, you want to keep trying to get aggressive, find some pickoffs, maybe force a Silencer ult or a Phoenix Egg and get Roche, because right now, that's what's going to allow you to maybe take that top tower. Like, they still don't have a tower, actually. And that means that they can't really expand upon their 2K gold advantage. They want to get something going, but it's so scary. Silencer and Phoenix.
Yeah, I guess sort of the big safe time will be once Limp has the Deso and then the BKB.
Yeah, both
then
teams
they can really commit with the tier.
Both teams are farming both of their ancient camps, or stacking them at all times, which is necessary in a game like this, where both teams are really just trying to accelerate. D-Stone's Shadowblade is complete. You can get that sent out to him, ready to offer sort of that setup, those counter plays to the initiation attempts from Cole. And it looks like he will be going Linken's on Skem. I actually really agree with this item build, Manta into the Linken's, because it allows you to stay ahead, but also kind of keep pace for when you're going to peak, which is always going to be that BKB, but it feels real bad to buy that second item on a TB in a game like this. Big smoke coming out. Master.
Cole as well with the smoke to lead away, but Aster might get a nice wraparound from behind with their own smokers. They're coming in from an angle that Cole might not quite expect.
Yay.
There's the jump. Can they get Limp out of the fight before anything comes out responsive? Nice defensive nightmare comes through, but the Supernova's out in the high ground. A good flame break back from XXS. Pops the two of them back in range of the Supernova. As they're chasing down, look at what's Snaking. Snaking will get back underneath the tier 2 tower, and Aster will let him survive. As Aster with that wraparound, Cole not quite expecting them to come from that sort of angle, as Cole themselves were looking to head over to Aster's half of the map. Little did they know that Aster was actually behind them on their own half of the map.
Thing is, they did manage to grab both bounty runes in the top area, and Envy's beelining for the bottom half of the map to grab the other two. Yeah. He knows his objectives. It's just a good move from Aster, though. Again, compLexity can't team fight this lineup, and you've got to be very afraid. Mid lane, though, they do catch the DK. He's down.
I love that. That's actually, I think that's the biggest difference we've seen in look at the bounty runes this game. 5k actually gained by Cole. Yeah. They've only picked up 650 gold worth of the bounty runes, Aster. That's a pretty crazy difference in terms of priorities. A lot of runes stolen here by Cole this game, keeping them at this lead. 2k advantage at the moment for Cole, 13 for 11. XXS. He's got the lasso back up in a few seconds. He's on his own though, so does have to be a little careful with what any sort of play that he goes for. Trap's going to be laid down. XXS has already TP'd out. Top lane Envy hunting for Baboka. There's the Fisher, but Baboka has already dove away. Also using the Ray and TP to escape.
But you can just see, like, even though compLexity is ahead in the game, it just feels like they're so much more afraid around the map just because of the threat of all of Aster's heroes, specifically that Batrider. Playing primarily around this top area of the map, almost always is 3 or 4. In the meantime, Siler just continuing to farm his own triple camp. Not ahead of Skem, who's doing a great job.
Skem changed his mind as well. He went for the BKB rather than the Linken's.
Okay, well, this is the Cole timing then. They're going to get this tier 2 top, and then they really want to translate that into a Roche. But here comes Aster, smoke prepared, all their ultimates ready as well. Maybe a slight miscue here. It looks like both Bat and Phoenix are going Shivas. Could be intended, might not be.
Yeah, you're right. We don't see that a lot. Double Shiva's guard, but nonetheless, yeah, Aster, they have got it queued up at the moment. I mean, yeah, the Phoenix has picked up a recipe. There's a Mystic Staff on the Bat, so I mean, maybe the Bat can say, I'll get a Hex instead. Shiva's got, it's not a bad item to have 2 of.
And this is the script for Aster. You can see once again all the ults up. All right, guys, let's smoke and run at them. Hope for the best. And that's the way you want to play it this game. They have a really nice ward placed to the left of the top shrine. Another one that's going to maybe safeguard this Roche attempt they could be looking to go for. Not a fan of Sylar going for a Sanj and Yasha. Not sure if that's a game-winning item in this game. Would have much preferred to see him go for something like a Shadow Blade. This is real dangerous for Cole, though. You might want to get out of dodge real soon. And another ward placed on the high ground as well, below the shrine. Aster, again, that's the area of the map they're looking to control. They have 4 wards placed to secure it. You can see the line drawn as well. Play this area, guys. Do not let compLexity Roche.
He's thinking about maybe setting up, but no, D-Stones plays careful. Limp will show. As Aster know that there's still a good chance there's a good number of compLexity up here on this half of the map behind Limp, and indeed there are 3 members still hanging around top. XXS starting to lead forward, but the traps are down, so Cole having good info on the movements of the bat. We'll keep their distance. Limp TP's out. Same thing to be said for Z3, because both will escape from that top lane. Only Envy hanging around for now.
There's a lot of pressure on Fenrir Silencer in this game because you're going to be able to kill. You need to kill the TVA, preferably the Terrorblade, to start to engage the fight. You need to be sure you silence before the counter initiation can come in. Because if TB lives, gets a BKB Sunder off, that's it. You're losing this engagement.
From Baboka, does show himself. compLexity. They are preparing for a fight down here. Snake can find a jump. Oh, he's going to be jumped on. Quick play from XXS. Grab snaking back underneath the tower. He's got the blade mail, but the Sunray will persist. Boka able to help burn him down.
There's a real delayed reaction by snaking. They had ward vision of the teleport coming in. It is daytime. Maybe not the TP, but you see Bat pretty fast. But again, he's just trying to play aggressively. But that's the issue where the moment compLexity feels like Aster might be making a committed response as a squad, you've got to run because you still don't really have the ability to team fight. BKB on TA, almost completed, just a recipe away. But still, like the Aster wards, even though they're not playing this top area anymore, they know compLexity isn't roshing, and that's going to be the big objective these teams fight over for control of the game.
Do you feel that compLexity should try and prioritize getting the Roche, or do they sort of have to take a fight before heading in? Is it a little impossible to do whilst there's the full lineup of Aster alive?
It depends on like how they're reading the game. I mean, Envy's a huge fan of TB, so he might feel confident like the later this game goes, the better. They just want to kind of maintain the status quo, but I have a strong feeling he may be underestimating the power of Aster's team fight and the way a Battle Fury, Monkey King, and a Bat Rider will be able to deal with TB throughout all stages of the game. Not to even mention the Silencer, the DK Shadowblade stun perhaps. There's a lot of options.
And I like this as well. They've realized that they're building 2 Shiva's guards and indeed the Bat Rider. Oh wait, no, he's changed it again. He momentarily queued up the Hex instead, but he's gone back for the Shiva's guard. I mean, obviously having that good amount of armor is going to be super strong against this TA and Terrorblade for both heroes. So.
I would have liked to see Bat go for a Yules in this game, especially against Axe. Like, you really want a Yules against an Axe at all times, and there's no other hero that's going to be able to pick one up. I think that was a slight miscue. Maybe a pretty big miscue depending on how this game goes from XXS. Mid lane, Snaking charging forward. They get the trap.
Oh, they do. Does Snaking want to go? Not try for it. Doesn't want to dive, and D-Stones with the Shadow Blade a little too hard to catch.
Oh, this Phoenix is going to be the big X factor. There's only the 2 BKBs are up now on TA and Terrorblade, and that's Roche timing. You can actually maybe take a fight here, but Baboka level 15, that Fire Spirit DPS. The Shiva's so much damage represented. compLexity's got to be careful here.
Oh, there's the jump. XXS comes and gets the grab. There's the global as well as they'll focus down Snaking on the Bat Rider. Wukong's command dropped as well for that one, as they will absolutely destroy Snaking. They did commit quite a bit for it. Global, Wukong's lasso, just for the 1 kill.
I would love to see somebody buy a ton of sentries right now, get total control of your own top area of the map, and as soon as Snaking's up, look to Roche. No Monkey King ult, no lasso, no silence.
Big
like,
opening.
You've got to act.
Absolutely. I don't think there's,
No DK form.
They've got to go. I'm sure Cole will. 20 seconds, the Axe is back up, and we'll see if they do indeed make a beeline for the pick, because you're absolutely right. They've got a great chance to go for this one. As we see the comparison here between Limp and D-Stones, 5 kills. the net worth difference as well with the way that Lim's been able to farm this game. And just been able to get so much done with that great start that he had on the TA in the mid lane this game, Lim.
Yeah, D-Stones is going to have major issues scaling as this game continues. He also went for the health talent instead of the damage one, which I am never a fan of. I mean, it's just so much damage. The gold value of that DPS is much higher than the health.
And here it is, absolutely on cue. Cole, they're back in the game. They go to the pit. No, there's no ultimates there. Other than the Lasso. Lasso is back up for XXS. He could try and make a play on his own. See what they do. D-Stones, who's going to head into the pit. They know they're around. XXS leading him with the Shiva's Guard. Roche still with a fair bit of health left. There's going to die for him, but Boca's got the Supernova, but the BKB's out. They're focusing the Exiles in, trying to go for it, but Lim's already picked up the Aegis. They'll lose the life of the Phoenix. Buyback's going to be there straight away. Snaking with the call in the pit, holds down Sylar. They get the Monkey King. They'll move forward to D-Stones. Envy loses his life, but overall, it's Cole taking this fight with pretty convincing pace. Snaking. Call onto the two of them again. He's keeping himself safe. Skem now walking over. They do lose a couple on Cole, but they're taking a hell of a lot here from them. Skem gets the triple kill. Another buyback coming out from Aster. Pembra TP's across, wanting to punish Limp and Skem. Skem's still hanging around. Has got a Sunder. Takes it out of Fenrir as he goes back up to full HP. Skem. Now he looks for Baboka as well, chasing down the Phoenix. He's got a reflection, just needs to get the vision, so he can chase this down as Baboka's trying to juke around the trees, trying to get himself back to safety, but Skem will close the gap. And that, my friends, is a rampage for Skem. As I think pretty much everybody seemed to die there in that fight on both sides. Skem survives. He gets a rampage. He's got his Lincolns done. He's got 2k gold on top of it as well, as this man is becoming an absolute terror on the Terrorblade.
Very funny. This is the guy you want to be 9-0 with a rampage.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a casual rampage for him.
It's
all over
great.
The place from Aster.
I don't want to downplay, like, he just did, the Terrorblade just got a rampage, but if you look at the gold net worth differential, it didn't change, and now Roche is no longer an objective. Runes are going to spawn. Looks like Aster will only be able to grab the one. That was just one of them. Like, look how poorly this team fight is executed.
I mean, this
the bat doesn't get a
lasso
lasso off.
From both teams. It was
the Phoenix goes in, gets the egg off, but there's a BKB, an immediate Sunder onto the Dragonite, so he's already a quarter HP. Egg dies immediately to the BKBs. Lasso's used on an Earthshaker that already pretty much used his spells. It's probably the worst fight Aster will have in this game, and it was a 5 for 5. It was 5 for 6 actually. TA died with the Aegis and then for real, and the Phoenix bought back and died again. But
yeah, it's sort of a million sort of little different fights all over the place. Sort of this point, you're like, who's coming out ahead? It looks like it's Cole, but then Cole sort of lose a third. Buyback's coming out. As, yeah, you know, they focus Lim and Skem, and D with a very sort of cute play to come in and get his rampage. I mean, big for Skem. Turning up to the land, getting a rampage on land's always going to feel very, very nice. And especially in the game when they absolutely need it. Lot on Skem to carry this game with his Terrorblade. In 31 minutes, they do hold a 5k net worth lead, compLexity.
It's a hard game for them to close out. They are still susceptible to just overcommitting, maybe into a Monkey King ult, into a bad silence, a lasso, whatever. They need to keep playing crisp. They're doing a great job right now. They've got good wards placed, but the next stage of this game is the gem battle. And when Batrider picks one up, all of a sudden map control becomes very difficult, and he's got one right now. He's also going to be going for the Yules as expected, recognizing I need this item in a game like this. And this is where it gets tricky, because Aster is still on the hunt, and even though TB has that Lincoln's, you already have now 2 cancels for the bat. Another reason the Yules is so effective, because you can blink in, Yules to cancel, lasso, force away, that Terrorblade's going down.
They've got the axe on the BKB on the axe now, so he can commit without the warrior being sent up into the air.
Comes the smoke.
Let's see what Aster can do
No
with this
DK
one.
form for this fight though. BKB complete though.
They do, and they've got the other globals online. The silence.
This could be it.
Can they get the jump? Skem's a hard one to find though. That's the BKB ready. Sylar trying to bait out a little bit of an action from compLexity as he shows himself by the tower.
What a move from Aster.
Are they going to get this jump though? They scan, they know that they're here. Z-Freak is the one that could potentially be caught, as he's the one between them. As Cole, they are retreating. They're backing away. Blink forward from XXS. Oh, the Nightmare and Cole's going to be a little bit whiffed here. Let's jump forward from Sylar. He's got the Boundless Strike down. Tries for the Wukongs, but Z-Freak's got the Phoenix Grip. Global Silence comes out straight away, but Boca tries to go in. Supernova's going to be Pop a Scam with the BKB, focusing down the egg, punching into it. Can he kill it in time? He cannot! He cannot take down the egg. Scam cannot get off the Sunder either as Aster. They get both the Bane and the Terrorblade. Sylar seeing if he can chase for more. He's got the Boundless Strike up in a second, but Envy holds him back with the Fissure. I mean, we see the egg comes out, and they were so close to being able to take it, but as it were, you know, it was only Scam punching into it on the Terrorblade with the BKB, and even with the BKB, he can't get enough hits in without any of his teammates helping out, and no one else was in a position to punch the egg.
There's two Shivas, like the Bat Blink's in first, then the Phoenix. Envy's got nothing to do but watch. The Shaker doesn't have an impact in a game like this. There's the silence.
Snaking does commit with the call. There's going to be a buyback from Scam for this fight. They're going all in. Sylar's got the Boundless Strike onto the two of them. That's going to be Snaking got no buyback available on the Axe Scam. He's going in. Envy jumps forward. Echo Slam, control onto Sylar. Sylar trying his best to get the Jingu Mastery stacks up, but he cannot. Limp's got the pure damage of physical as he punches in with a meld hit. He'll take down the Monkey King. They'll push Aster out of the base. Did cost them a buyback on Scam, though, for this one.
Envy has got to watch his positioning. I can't look at his player perspective, but right now his screen is far too forwards because he's catching Shivas and spells and just standing still. I know he's looking to blink in an ult, but he's going to be 10 to 15 seconds late in every fight if he doesn't reposition 500 to 1,000 units further back so that you can actually get those big echoes off. He had a great opportunity, but he caught the Shivas. And you need to kill Bat in that scenario, who is so juicy. You get the gem, but you at least get the Monkey King, which is quite nice.
Success, trying to play around with Z-Freak. Z-Freak does have the Nightmare. D-Stone's heading with the Shadow Blade. Doesn't want to go any further. Envy is by the side. In fact, Cole, they've got a good amount of numbers here. They'll jump forward. They're trying to make a play onto XXS, but he forces his way back. Scam's got to be careful how he chases, especially with this timer where he does not have buyback. He cannot afford to lose that Terrorblade.
It's the problem with this TA last pick. It feels like even though it was 10th picked and had pretty much a free laning phase, what's the game impact?
Fantastic start. He really did. He owned his lane.
He's going to have a Hex pretty soon, but will that be enough? It's going to be all about initiation, and I always point towards vision, especially when you're playing in a Batrider game. The team with the most vision is going to have a major advantage, and double Shivas and a Shadow Blade versus no Shivas and no Shadow Blades. Unless they can control vision, it's going to be tough. compLexity want to force an engagement around a secret ward and then find a kill. Roche spawning.
Should be pretty soon.
In 3.5 to
okay, not
30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds. Oh.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Scotty finished.
All right, Scam continues to get very beefy. Very close to having that level 25 as well on the Terrorblade. 3/4 of the way there through level 24. Being eyed up. Fissure to set up. Snaking comes in with the call. He's got the Blade Mail out as well. Envy popping the Echo Slam. Everything they can do to lock Sylar down. As Sylar, I don't think there's any way he can play his way out of this one, and there is not. Sylar will be taken by Cole.
It's a very uncharacteristic death from Sylar, especially with the farm that he has. He can kill creep waves from the trees with ease. Instead, he leapt or walked in to stun the wave and died, and then they blow silence as well. Will it be a Roche spawn is the question. We'll find out. Wow, fast spawn, 20 seconds.
That's going to favor Cole if they can get themselves over there.
Get a trap in there, an illusion, something. Yules and Gem finished on Eternal Envy. He now has the ability to dodge the silence, and the gem is huge. This allows them to recontrol the vision game. Don't ever give Bat free initiations. Question is, what do? Go tier 3? Go for Roche? They didn't put anything in the pit, so they won't know it's about to spawn in 3 seconds. And Monkey does have a buyback prepared. Hex finished on TA.
Let's see if it's forced out from Sylar. It's the push time to come in with just the illusions at the moment.
Oh, check Roche.
If they could get that Aegis, it would be, and cheese, it would be absolutely huge. And very hard for us to sort of defend a push against an Aegis cheese Terrorblade. But they're not heading over to the Roche pit quite yet, Cole. Not looking to scout it out, and now Aster.
They're under ward, they're under vision. This is so bad for compLexity.
Yeah, Aster know exactly what's up. Envy does try to lead him with the Fissure, but Aster knows exactly what's going on here.
reveals
Cole
the ward
will,
as well.
they'll go for the D ward. They will manage to regain vision control around this point, making it a little harder for Aster to hold on with this defense. And they do now start to leave that bottom lane. So if they head over towards that pit, Envy and Scam, not going to check for it quite yet, but are able to sort of play with Aster very much sort of held back in their base. But if Aster can take a team fight around this Roche, it could really swing the game back in Aster's favor.
And their team fight is still so much stronger. Just close still. 2K advantage for compLexity. Feel like they've had that for almost 20 minutes now. Could still go either way. All going to be about the initiation.
You see now Aster, they have scouted out Roche. They know it's back. They know it's up. They can't do it at sort of a crazy pace themselves. Aster do certainly have to try and find a bit of action before they want to attempt for Roche.
And it's all about target selection too. If you're Aster, you got to kill TB or TA. If you're compLexity, don't get distracted by the DK. He's got a Dragon Blood talent, he's got an AC, a BKB. Ignore him, kill the Phoenix. Phoenix, Monkey King, those are the heroes that are really going to win a fight. And I personally think Baboka's Phoenix is the X factor. If you allow him to get 2 rounds of Fire Spirits off, he's the one with the Spirit Vessel, he's got the Shivas, you got to take him down.
And he's about 1,000 gold away from having an Aghanims as well. Oof. So sort of being able to offer that extra life to the Sylar Monkey King in the midst of the fights, and making that egg just that little bit harder to take down, something that compLexity have already suffered and struggled with in the team fights when Baboka gets a good placement. But compLexity, they'll go for the smoke play now.
The thing about it is that egg becomes so strong into the late game because it's TA Terrorblade. Neither one of them could have the luxury of itemizing for max DPS and attack speed. They have to go for these more defensive utility items. Egg will be a problem, and look at the positioning right on the ward, ready to break the smoke.
XXS with the Firefly. Colt still under the cover of smoke, but indeed the superior ward coverage at the moment favoring Aster around the pit. Cole have to make a play underneath smoke, otherwise Aster are going to have full vision of them coming in. And Cole's still seeming a little scared. They know that D-Stones is there as he clears out the middle wave, but Cole actually holding themselves right back, keeping well away from the pit, and that's going to mean that smoke is going to wear off. Cole no longer with that smoke to rely on.
Such a tense game, and it's the product of the matchup we have here, where Aster knows they'll win fights. They just have to ensure they don't overextend. compLexity know we need to find a window here. We can't just walk forwards. The British revolutionary tactics will be very unpleasant were they to employ them.
I have no idea what that means, but I'll believe it.
Revolutionary War? Remember the red coats, straight lines, America's used? No? No?
I don't know. I didn't listen in history lessons.
Yeah.
Was never my strongest point. History and geography were always the sort of 2 topics where you just had the bad teachers. I think I could tell you some names of a few different types of clouds. That's probably it.
Well, Illusion Rune bottom. This is nice. They give it to the Axe though. Would have maybe like to see it go to Skem there, just to apply more pressure. And compLexity has no shortage of lockdown, but it's going to be their sustained DPS. A lot of this game is going to be on the back of Skemberlu.
Yeah, and he's certainly been pulling his weight so far this game. 10-1 and 5, and incredibly fun. 27,000 net worth on Skem. It's looking to be a solid Terrorblade performance.
I just feel like if Sylar had a Shadowblade, this game would have been much easier for them to execute. They're going to smoke. No vision granted. D-Stone's is going to swap in his TP, so he's ready to join them. This is one of those classic Chinese moves where you smoke 4, show 1, and he's going to TP to join. I really like this maneuver, and it could catch compLexity sleeping. They know they're rotating towards top.
Alrighty, Baboka diving in, getting some vision, jump forward. They've got the vision to set up for the lasso as they drag back on Snake King. Can they bring him down with the Sunray? They certainly can. Snake King's out of the fight, does not have buyback, so he's gone for 70 seconds. As now Aster will start to beat down on the Roche. They know that they have the numbers advantage. They don't do it crazily quick, but they do it pretty safe with the tankiness of D-Stones. He doesn't need to worry about taking pretty much any damage from Roche.
You can't fight this if you're cold. This is so scary, and they're running right up at the high ground into a sentry.
This is 4 versus 5 from Cole as XXS jumps forward. The Global Silence coming out as well. They're focusing Z-Freak with the Sunray. Back towards the pit. They're trying to keep the fight going in multiple areas. Z-Freak will fall. Skemberlu now being focused as he's popped the BKB, but being chased down by both D-Stones and Sylar. Turn with the Sunder, but now the BKB BKB worn off. The boundless strike comes down. He's in trouble. The buyback comes out for the Bane. Z-Freak trying to save him. In fact, it might just do so as Envy jumps in. Scam will fall. But Envy, he could clean up another. The enchant totem comes down. They get D-stones as well. So they may have lost Scam, but a good buyback there from Z-Freak coming into play, offering that Nightmare to get just that sort of extra bit of time to allow them to turn around. Envy to come in with the jump. As Cole will keep themselves on top once more. Buyback is available for the Terrorblade if they feel the need to get Scam back in. But with 2 dead on Aster, they can chill out a little bit.
That's the echo we were waiting for. Envy, 43 minutes or so into the game, comes through big. The 3-man echo, turning that fight around. If Scam has the Sunder talent instead of plus 300 Metamorphosis range,
oh, did you say the
he lives and they get Roche. I didn't want to comment because I thought maybe this was part of some master plan, but good God, it's so good.
Sure, I mean, you can sort of see the argument for the attack range in terms of, I think in terms of playing against like the Wukong's Command and the Supernova, yeah, it's staying out of range of those spells, but yeah, as you say, the Sunder talent is so strong. Z-Freak, that is going to be a dieback. He gets grabbed out of the pit, and Scam has brought back once again the second buyback he's had to expend so far this game.
Now you're in a position where if your TB dies, you lose the game, and you've just lost your Bane with no buyback for 100 seconds, which means Aster can chill, wait for their Monkey King, and walk right back into the pit. There's no meta, and they know this.
Yeah, no meta.
I can't believe you didn't get the Sunder talent, man.
It is one of those talents that, as you say, most of the time you will see it be favored. Only in sort of specific niche situations do you see the attack range taken. And as I said, I think, you know, Supernova, Wukong's Command, these are sort of arguments that you want to be able to fight, reach in without, you know, you're always going to be able to hit that egg. You're going to be able to hit the Monkey King whilst being outside the ult. But of course, he still has a lot of armor, so not always the best play to do. But yeah, that Sunder certainly could have saved him in that last situation. Could have meant that he didn't have to expend a buyback. And now Aster indeed are into the pit.
Great
what
flame
can Cole
break.
do? He's stopping all these blinks, making it very hard for Envy and Snaking to jump in at all. Scam will start to send some illusions in. The trap's being spammed out as well by Limp, but can Cole really get into the pit to stop this? This is going to be the jump. Limp goes with the BKB, but the Supernova's out of the side. Cole have to back up away from this egg. But the egg will be successful. Cole get themselves out of range. They've got the control as there's the lasso. Dragging them in, Aster get Roche, get the Aegis onto Sylar. Snaking getting knocked back into the Wukong's Command. Boundless strike down. Snaking is gone. They've got to get Scam out. Scam will turn. He's trying to fight with the Metamorphosis, but this is so scary for Cole. They can't afford to lose Scam. He's got the BKB. Snaking does come in with a call, but Sylar gets the Jingu built up. Snaking in trouble as he bought back for this one. He's going to die. Second down, T-Stones with the G's, I believe. Back up to full. Limp's in trouble with the Spirit Vessel upon him as he's gone. They'll go for a grip play. Z-Freak trying to make sure that Scam can retreat, but it's a triple kill for T-Stones. There are 4 dead on compLexity, and none of them with buyback available. As the Aegis is still there for Sylar, he's still holding on to it. He's pushing down middle lane. Only Scam left alive for this attempt at a defense.
Let's try and take an engagement 4v5. The Monkey King level 25. You see how big the Thunderdome is. Envy gets caught napping. He's playing one of the more obvious positions as a Blink Initiator on that little divot on the high ground where you still have range to blink into Roche Pit. He's going to get caught by Ashivas. He does. He's lassoed. The counter initiation is gone. And all of a sudden, it was always going to just take one fight. compLexity played so well around the map, stalling out the game. But Aster, with the discipline that you come to expect from a top-tier Chinese team, especially one coached by Burning, just wait for that one shot at the jugular. They find their opportunity.
Wukong's Command down to the pit. Scam can go in for one last attempt to keep them off the Ancient, but Envy, he'll blow an Echo Slam, instantly get popped. The Supernova's just going to be down to make sure the Scam can't get close to the Ancient to defend it, and GG is called. Cole will drop game 1. Aster able to take it after a decent amount of gameplay. It was about a 40-odd minute game, 46 minutes in. I mean, and in terms of the numbers of the net worth, it did look close, but I'm sure you're going to tell me that this was actually a game that you feel that Aster, they were always going to have this one fight and they can end the game. Something that Cole, they would have had to hunt so much harder for in a game like this.
Yeah, it's so much harder for compLexity to win. That's all. That's why, like, yeah, it's a close game. It goes plus 40 minutes, but it's a huge draft win for Aster. it's so hard to win games in the current meta when you're not just against a clock, but you can't mess up, like not once. And
one mistake costs you the game.
I think there had to be a high priority on taking out the Bat's gem, because the way compLexity wins that game is to have map dominance and find those pickoffs, those skirmishes, and Envy, somewhat disappointing on the Shaker.
Okay.
He had that one big echo, but you gotta perform better if you're gonna rush a Blink Dagger, pick that up around 13, 14 minutes. You gotta do more.
Yeah, well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Game 1 going the way of Aster, as Aster are able to outplay compLexity in those final moments and secure the win as we pass you back to the panel.
Yes, thank you very much, ODPixel. Aster confirmed their place in the next round. They're guaranteed to go through from Group B, having accumulated 7 out of 7 points. Doesn't matter what happens from here on in. They've got 3 more games to go, including the second game of this particular series, which is coming up after the break, of course. Before that, let's break down how it all shook out in game number 1. We're back with our panel members once more. Trent and Purger here. Purger, your thoughts on that? I feel a bit hard done by in some ways, because I felt like compLexity could have won that.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird match to watch. It was really engaging, but it looked like it was on the verge of a train wreck at the start. Like it seemed like they lost 2 lanes kind of badly, and then it got into this period of the game where things just kind of slowed down. Then over time, you're like, okay, Cole's winning. Yeah. And they got tons of bounty runes and lots of gold advantage from that, but they never got really far ahead. They just got slightly far ahead the whole time, and then it became what Kyle was talking about. It was like, if they ever make a big mistake, then they're going to lose the game. And it started happening in that last Roche fight. Yeah,
I mean, a few mistakes towards the end, Trent, as well, wasn't it? I mean, the scoreboard doesn't lie here in terms of the kills being in favour of Aster, but it looks closer than it perhaps it was, because at the end, that last 10 minutes was a real mess for compLexity, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was pretty large portions of that game looked like kind of a mess for Aster too, honestly. I think Sylar had some real issues. I mean, not really a hero that I would say he's well known for. Maybe not one he's quite practiced on. He had quite a few boundless strikes that were whiffing like crazy. But I think Aster, not so much compLexity having problems the last couple of fights. I felt like Aster just played the last fights straight up just better. Yep. I feel like they were at a disadvantage in a lot of those engagements too, but they just completely outplayed compLexity. Like, especially that last Rose Pit fight where they just like had this perfect setup with the egg and the Monkey King ulti that said, you simply cannot come in here. This Aegis is completely guaranteed for us, and then they get a last one Envy, and that just ends the game right there. I mean, because Envy's the turnaround hero.
They have a disadvantage, but they still have a Batrider, and they're around Roche, you know? Like, yes, compLexity can get vision in the pit, and they have an Earthshaker, but Batrider's never going to let them get close. And I think one of the best things that XXS did that whole game was make sure the snaking never got to initiate. So I don't know if it was necessarily snaking playing poorly or not, but every fight pretty much felt like always was Aster initiated on Axe and killing him, or at least pulling him super out of position, starting a better fight. It never felt like Cole got to start the fight. And it was vision based, and it was because of Batrider, and it was because of like global silence and egg. It's like if Cole doesn't have the right fight, they're not going to go for it, and eventually the Bat's going to grab you first. So it was like just so hard for Cole to take fights.
I will say I highly doubt we'll see the Terrorblade get through in game 2, because if your faith was at all shook in Terrorblade, I think this game should completely put it back into it, because he had a terrible start, and Skem just made the hero still look totally broken.
Yep, absolutely. MVP for you guys, who is it?
XXS probably.
On the bat?
Yeah, that's
he was like
fair.
8-2 and 16.
And he
we've
so
been saying how
farmed.
bad the hero is like the last 2 days, and then he goes and does that, and you kind of go, well, it's not that bad.
If you pick it really late and you already know what 2 of the cores are, and you have a matchup advantage like against TB and Axe, yes, he can absolutely outlane both of those guys, and then it's easy to pick it semi-early, as in not your last pick. So I think he played the best personally. His itemization was really quick. He always got the right initiation. He made super clutch moments a couple times when he almost died. He's got a baller stash too.
I think the most impressive part too was just like how well farmed he was throughout all that game. Like some of these Batriders, in a lot of our games, they start to fall behind, and it feels like they almost get relegated to basically the 4 role. And there tends to be like this former support that tends to get more of the waves and stuff. They're the ones who's visible because the Batrider's trying to play off the map, which makes sense. You don't want the team to see you. You want to get pickoffs and everything. But he was just farming like crazy. He was not too worried about his Firefly cooldown. He just kept doing laps in that jungle with Firefly, with Shiva's guard, and he's like, look, we're going to fight when we're going to fight. And until then, I'm hitting creeps. And he kept up with his DK because of that.
All right, good stuff. Thank you very much, chaps. In the other matches, Forward have taken their first game against EVOS, and Virtus.pro, perhaps unsurprisingly, lead 1-0 against NIP. You can see those on streams B and C, respectively. But you can stay with us here on Stream A if you want to see the second game between our 2 teams fighting out. We'll be back in a bit.